NACA is leading the revolution in making homeownership possible for working people nationwide.
Remember these 4 letters, NACA, NACA, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. They're going to make you a homeowner or refinance your high-rate loan. NACA is not a commercial loan company. It's a non-profit organization that's been fighting mortgage scams that decimate low and moderate income neighborhoods. Now, after years of protests, TV exposés, and tough congressional hearings, NACA has been funded with billions of dollars to invest in your neighborhood with the best mortgage product in America. There's no down payment, no closing costs, no application fee, below market interest rates, and you don't need perfect credit. And NACA will be there to lead you through the home buying process with workshops and individual counseling. And we'll be there to help you for the life of your loan. NACA services are free.
Angry protests targeting a local bank.
To make NACA possible, we have encountered strong opposition by bankers and politicians.
There is a CRA protester who calls himself an urban terrorist who used those charges against a bank, harassed them for 4 years, made this man's life miserable. Finally, the bank craters and gives them $1.4 million, gives them $200,000 to set up their organization. They now got 20 offices, lending $3.5 billion.
The Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, NACA, is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to end financial exploitation and to stabilize your neighborhoods. While NACA provides comprehensive housing services, it is first and foremost a confrontational community advocacy organization. NACA has also been in the forefront of taking on major financial institutions and their predatory lending practices. It is a war waged on many fronts. We take the junkyard dog approach. Once we grab on, we never let go, no matter how long it takes.
When you own a piece of the rock, when you own your neighborhood, you rise up and drive the parasites out because you have that power. We have that power.
NACA is an outgrowth of a 5-year campaign by the Boston Hotel Workers Local 26 to provide housing assistance for their members. As part of this fight, hundreds of workers went to Washington to change the federal labor law.
Strong enough to challenge the law, strong enough to change a stupid law that says we have no right to negotiate what's good for our family.
There are millions of hardworking men and women all across this country that might not know what Local 26 is, but will know what Local 26 is, and what we'll be able to do, those families will be able to do, is to be able to have a home. And let's get on to the real business ahead for homes for all the workers of this country. Thank you very, very much.
My heartiest congratulations for continuing Boston's tradition as a city of history.
In 1990, President George Bush signed a law allowing union and management to provide housing assistance. The federal labor law hadn't been changed in over 20 years, and for the first time, a local union was responsible.
We've always taken the big fights. The NACA goal is to set a standard for the country. But if you're going to be out there fighting the financial predators, you got to take on the big ones. You can't take the easy road. Well, that sends a message to the institutions out there that says, when NACA takes you on, we're going to do whatever it takes to win.
NACA led the fight to expose second mortgage scams. Major financial institutions lent to working people who were property rich but cash poor. As a result, many workers lost their homes. After 2.5 years of extensive research, the focus of the second mortgage campaign was Fleet Bank.
We're staying here to meet with
No, you're not staying here to meet with
Well, then you're going to have to arrest us.
It's a matter of interest, literally
a matter of interest that's moved the Attorney General of the state of Georgia to begin a major investigation into fleet finance. These sales may be sales of hope for depositors, but in Georgia, where fleet finance is based, more than 20,000 borrowers think those sales look more like fins, the fins of loan sharks. Randolph writes is a fairly typical story. This house had been in his family for more than 20 years. He had $37,000 in equity in the house when he got a loan with Fleet at 22% interest. He fell behind and Fleet foreclosed, bought his house, and then sold it at a profit. Randolph lost the house, all of his equity, and now rents from the new owners.
As part of the struggle against Fleet's lending practices, we had busloads of over 400 people go to Washington.
They went to the Senate Banking Committee hearing, and they said no more predatory lending, no more 25% interest rates.
Racial discrimination and a denial of credit to people who are creditworthy in this country because they are being excluded from the system, either on racial grounds or geographic grounds or because they're in certain neighborhoods, is absolutely un-American.
Today's hearing obviously focuses in on a situation that is evil, that is pernicious, that is unlawful.
I believe, Mr. Chairman, that this type of conduct is unconscionable at best.
Irresponsible lenders.
But on the whole, there really were substantial abuses within the industry which wound up causing people to lose their homes for no legitimate reason.
It is a wake-up call to Congress.
This nationwide battle took 4.5 years. It included demonstrations and confrontation wherever Fleet was active. We won the war.
It is welcome news for us that it's decided to embark on this program to commit $8 billion for community lending.
We believe Fleet in City, by making credit available to families who have had the toughest time getting credit, will do more for those families than anything else we could offer.
Five years later, Fleet returned to its predatory practices, now charging predatory fees and invading the privacy of mortgage holders.
On 7 News at 6.
Demanding change from New England's largest bank, protesters stormed Fleet's shareholder meeting. Good evening, everyone. Good to have you along. Protest organizers say the price of banking with Fleet is just too high.
So they tried to storm a shareholders meeting today. It's our top story at 6. 7 News reporter Katerina Bandini.
Come on, roll it in. We have a right to be here.
They're angry Fleet Bank customers on a mission, and security officers aren't going to stop them.
Today is tax day within New England. We're protesting the Fleet tax on working people.
We're fed up with Fleet.
They storm the World Trade Center. The next stop, the Fleet Bank shareholders meeting downstairs, and a chance to confront the bank's CEO, Terry Murray. The leader of this community group is a shareholder, but is denied access. That's when the pushing starts.
We're not changing the rules. We have rights.
Change the rules. Please.
What is Fleet afraid of?
Terry Murray is ducking. He's hiding.
They're angry over a new fee structure put in place following Fleet's merger with Bank Boston.
Primetime investigation. It manufactures some of the most popular cars in America.
Ford, quality is job one.
But there's another side of the Ford Motor Company you may not know about.
Ford is absolutely a loan shark.
Ford is one of the largest money lenders in the country, and workers inside the company say it used aggressive tactics to put people into debt.
We'd say, what a sucker. Cha-ching. We just made the company some money.
They eat you up and they spit you out. That's Ford Motor Company.
We found Ford customers across the country who ended up losing their homes. Customers and former employees told us it happens too often.
They have ripped off our community. They have stolen the wealth out of our neighborhood.
In Atlanta, thousands packed a church to bear witness against the way they say Ford does business.
That's Ford Motor Company who has a better idea.
This man is also going after Ford. Bruce Marks. a community activist who has pressured corporations to make available more than $1 billion in low-cost mortgages.
They're vicious. I have a loan with them, 2 in fact, and it's 24% interest. That's 24.
After years of confrontation led by NACA, Ford divested the associates. At the first annual meeting, they announced dramatic changes in their lending practices.
I must say on behalf of the 37,000 employees of the associates, we're all proud of this relationship. We think it's the start of something that will be unfolding, I think, throughout many years. And we think it's a great idea, and we look forward, as we always do, to executing and doing the thing right. So Bruce, thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
You want to be respected. You want what is right. You want a home. You're going to say to Barnett Bank, you either going to come around or God fear, and we will tear you down. So what we have here is a warrant. Yeah. Got a warrant. It's a warrant for the questioning of Barnett Bank.
A protest is planned tomorrow against one of Charlotte's biggest banks, First Union.
You check us out, you check us out. Fast Eddie!
Fast Eddie is First Union Chief Executive Ed Crutchfield, and he's getting a lot of attention.
Be fair, Eddie! Be fair, Eddie! We deserve equality!
Allegations like these have been made against many banks. These people say First Union stands out, and this battle is getting personal.
How it is, Fannie Mae showing America the way home. That's what they say on their commercials. Well, the reality is, when you look at it geographically by census tracts, you realize that Fannie Mae is not doing anything more in low-income and moderate-income communities than any other commercial lender. So there's your welfare chief. Not driving a Cadillac, but riding around in a chauffeur-driven limousine at your expense.
Not only did we change the lending practices of major financial institutions, we also convinced Congress to pass the first federal law curtailing predatory lending.
I have prepared legislation that will provide an important first step towards filling in the gaps in consumer protection. It's called the Home Ownership and Equity Protection Act of 1993.
This is going to grow and become one of the largest movements, and that's exactly what it is, a movement that this country's ever seen. And we're going to do it together, aren't we? So I just want to thank y'all.
While aggressive advocacy is NACA's heart and soul, it has not been necessary with some institutions.
This is not just about home ownership. It's about neighborhood stabilization. We're here today to say that we're going to make loans to you without a down payment and without closing costs.
It is my pleasure on behalf of my associates of Nations Bank to participate today and to welcome the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America to Charlotte and to reaffirm our shared commitment to our communities. That's why it didn't take long for me to realize that by identifying qualified applicants, giving them the financial management skills they need, and creating a financial safety net for those who need a little help in crisis, that the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America was just the partner I was looking for.
Many will have an opportunity to live in their own home, bring up their own children in their own home.
NACA has reinvented mortgage lending with the best mortgage product in America that makes homeownership possible for working people. NACA provides the entire range of housing services, helping people navigate the minefield of the mortgage process. And our services are free.
It can be very intimidating buying a house. I think the workshop was the best, just learning the process, because not knowing is what's so scary.
Woo! NACA's counselors provided a lot of good advice, which really put us at ease. It allowed us to buy a house that we could afford over the long run.
NACA not only helped me buy a home,
but they helped me remodel it to suit my needs.
I didn't realize a traditional broker had a legal responsibility to represent the seller. NACA's buyer broker helped me, and that's why we're living in a house in a neighborhood that we really love.
I own a multi-family house. I didn't know all my legal responsibilities. NACA's landlord training was taught to me by a housing court judge. He showed me how to run what is really a small business.
Well, the Neighborhood Stabilization Fund was there when I got in trouble. I was laid off from my job and I couldn't pay the mortgage. I went to the NSF Peer Lending Committee for help, and they provided the financial support and counseling to get me over the hurdle.
NACA is America's largest housing services organization with billions to lend throughout the country.
NACA is going to put us back on the map. NACA is going to do that.
The American dream of owning your own home doesn't always come true for everyone. But tonight, thousands of Atlantans who thought it was out of their reach have new hope.
These people are here today because they want to buy a home with no money down, no closing costs, and no application fees.
The goal is to make the American dream a reality, and the response from Charlotteans is overwhelming.
Pews were packed, crowds riveted to every word coming from the pulpit.
We can do all that and restore the...
Not Sunday services. The topic being preached today was home ownership. NACA, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, is now in Charlotte.
NACA directors say Nations Bank and other lending institutions have pledged $1 billion in mortgage loans to be used across the country.
Our top story: for some people, the American dream of owning a home is just that, a dream. They often find obtaining a loan impossible. But there is a new nonprofit organization in town that hopes to make the dream of home ownership a reality by driving its message home. Over 1,000 people gathered at the Abyssinia Baptist Church on the north side. The group is celebrating the arrival of what they say is an answer to their prayers. The Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, or NACA. The group says it works for changes in lending, such as home loans with no down payment and no closing costs.
With this opportunity, this door has been open. Everyone that ever wanted to buy a home should come and apply.
I think people would take more pride in the community because it's their property.
Thanks to NACA, we have a mortgage and we are still homeowners.
Well, that's the American dream, isn't it? Everybody wants to own their own home.
All we need is a chance.
Well, we're standing here to tell you that it's true.
It's true.
We are now the owners of a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in Marietta because of the grace of God and NACA. Don't let it pass you by.
For 4 years, I struggled with a gold-owned company in Alabama about my house. And when they came to my home in November, 24 hours, we put out of doors. Sheriff came with his trucks and everything.
She was getting ready to lose her home of 22 years. When she found out, thanks to NACA, she was going to be able to keep her home.
That's what the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation is all about. So you better get yourself a piece of land.
People say it's too good to be true. I say scratch the surface. See what's there. Because when you see what's there, you can say this thing shines bright as a sunny day and even brighter.
This is hope. This is light at the end of the tunnel.
We had no down payment whatsoever, so this really saved us in terms of buying a house. And here we are, 2 teachers with no money in our pocket, and we own our own home. So we have a great deal to thank for NACA.
And the fact that we don't need a down payment or any money for the closing
is actually helpful, being that I'm a single parent and it's just me that's working.
Came to NACA. I let them know that I had a house that I was interested in, and they worked with me totally throughout the whole process. All the problems I had, they were able to be there to help me work it out, and I closed today. I'm very happy about it.
Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights.
Lending practices of major financial institutions have dramatically changed as a result of your advocacy. Your participation with our ongoing campaigns is crucial.
I pledge to participate with NACA in community outreach and advocacy campaign.
I will participate in campaigns to stabilize neighborhoods and communities nationwide.
I understand that all NACA services are free. I also understand that for NACA to offer this program,
continued community advocacy is necessary. Thus, I commit to take part in at
least 5 actions and activities a year in support of NACA's campaigns.
This is my house. My house.
This is my house.
This is my house.
This is my house.
Mi casa. My house. My house. It's my house.
My house.
Let it shine.